Welcome, everybody, to the Neighbor Starleague here with Valdez and Moonlight today. How are you doing today, Moonlight?
Doing absolutely fantastic, as always, Valdez. Never a bad day when it's StarCraft to be casted.
And do you know what day it is, Moonlight? It is not just any day of the Neighbor Starleague.
What day is it?
It's Group B of the Neighbor Starleague, and that means we got Classic, Stats, Life, Hero. Those are 4 of the best players in the world right now. 3 Protosses, 1 Zerg.
Yep, the world champion of last year, 2014, Life. The 1 Zerg that no one else... It did what no one else could do with that race last year, and it was absolutely amazing. And yeah, 3 world-class Protosses, all have done so very well. In PvP especially, all 3 of them are great at the matchup. And then you have Life in there to just really spice things up. Yeah,
it's such an interesting group, especially because of the video we got a little bit there before about how Life was like, no, I really don't want to go against TY. I just do not want to face him. Hero, a guy who was voted the most, all the other players wanted to avoid him the most. He was ranked number 1. They took like a little bit of a test before they went into that group selection, actually, and that's why he was selected.
Right.
And I don't blame any of the other players. Hero is on fire these days. He is just playing so well, and I would want to avoid him too.
Yeah, I mean, he played so well all last year as well. He's such a consistent player, and he's always carried CJ on his shoulders all throughout Pro League, and he's done so well in individual leagues as well. And here he is again in quite a terrifying group, even for him, I would have to say. And up against Life, one of the most dangerous Zergs on the planet by far.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about the group as well, we were talking about Life, didn't want to go against TY, but also Classic. He did not want to go against Terran. He was saying, Terran these days is a little bit imbalanced. They're a bit OP.
Yeah,
that's what they said. I'm not exactly sure if that's true, or we're going to have to find a lot more results. A lot of Terrans are doing well, but also a lot of Zergs and Protosses are doing well. So we still need to take some time before we see that, but still, a lot of these guys wanted to avoid Terrans, and there are no Terrans in the group. So good for them.
It's kind of interesting that they all wanted to avoid the Terrans as well, considering Life especially been doing so much better against Terrans this year, and the others have also done pretty well against Terran. No one really struggling. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but we're going to have to wait and see how everyone's planned for this group.
Yep, definitely. Well, guys, we do have some events here for the Neighbor Starleague. I think you can come down to the studio and get a card of some sort and build up some points and possibly win some prizes. But here we do have the round of 16 bracket so far. Lenok and Super, Zerg, and a Protoss able to get out of Group A. Today we're going into that group we mentioned before, Group B, Stats, Classic, Life, and Hero. Pretty stacked there.
Incredibly stacked. It's definitely one of the best groups of the round of 16. Looking at the rest of them, I mean, Group C, Deer, Gumiho, Rogue, Mionshik, and Group D, TY, Rogue, Dream, and Maru. That would be also incredibly exciting.
Seems like Rogue is playing twice.
Whoa, I don't know if that's actually
I don't know
allowed,
how he got away with that, man.
That's kind of cheating. But good for Rogue, nonetheless. 2 chances to get into the round of 8.
Yeah, good for him, man. I believe the second Rogue, actually his name in Korean is Dark. So that's probably Dark there in group number D, or group letter D.
Okay.
Group D also known as a pretty good group of death, especially with the way that Dream is playing these days.
Oh, man.
We got 3 Terrans in that group. TY and Maru also extremely strong Terrans. That's going to be an interesting one. We're going to get to that in about 2 weeks. But up today, guys, as we did mention before, it's Stats versus Classic to start things off in a PvP. Then we're going to jump right into Life versus Hero.
Both very exciting matches. Nice to warm up with a nice PvP, and we saw some good PvPs yesterday as well in the GSL. A lot of Protosses still doing well in Korea especially, and it's going to be very interesting to see how Life is going to pair up against Hero. Interesting fact, Life has not won a single ZVP this year in competitive matches, so something to note going into that game.
Definitely got to look towards that. I'm sure he practiced this matchup a ton, though, before coming in today because he is up against only Protosses today. Of course, he cannot play only against himself. The other Protosses in the group, they have to practice against Zerg and Protoss. Just a little bit extra practice there for all the other Protosses.
Yeah, it makes life a lot easier for Life because, yeah, one matchup. One matchup he gets to play against.
Yeah, man. It's going to be a great group. This first one, though, that we're jumping into straight away, Stats versus Classic. Stats over here of KT Rolster doing quite well for himself. As you guys see, the recent 10 matches, versus every race, as well as versus all races. He's above, or rather 50% or above in all of those matchups.
And one most notable kind of accomplishment I'd have to say would be the WECG qualifier, where he did dominate a lot of Protosses. One especially would be defeating Hero 3-2 in the finals to win that qualifier.
Yeah, that's pretty huge, man. PvP against Hero. But right now we're getting a look actually at some replays of the round of 32 of this group. Looks like he was able to defeat Innovation to get through. 3-2
as well. Very, he really likes to go to distance. He loves his late game. He's very, very well-versed in PvT late game. And it was really exciting to see him play again. I believe it was 2 days ago we got to see him play. And totally kick ass in the matchup.
Yeah, man. This guy is just like silently just growing bigger and bigger and bigger. He's just getting better and better. He's on KT. He's got so many different practice partners. We're getting another look at more of his games against Innovation. As you did mention before, he did win this 3-2. Extremely close.
Going late game against a player like Innovation as well is something to really admire, I'd have to say. Like, it really speaks volumes about your macro game, your late game ability, your multitasking, everything, positioning, especially in PvT. All this comes into play, especially in the late game. The fact that he can beat him 3-2 like that, not many other Protosses could do it.
No, that's actually a very good point when made. It's incredibly hard to defeat Innovation in that kind of matchup. Again, this guy is of KT, and he's going up against a guy who is on SKT. Telecom rivalry coming into effect here in the round 16 of the Naver Starleague. Here's Classic of SK Telecom T1.
That's right. He defeated Cure 3-2 in the Challenger of Starleague. And his most recent results, I'd have to say, would be online ones against Protoss, and that was in the IEM Taipei qualifier, where he defeated Hero and Parting. So that's something to note as well, because there's like two very, very big opponents.
That's actually unbelievable. Just another Protoss who's making waves here. You know, we mentioned before, Hero, the player that most players wanted to avoid, but a guy like Classic, a guy like Stats, these players are doing super well as well.
Yeah, both players coming into this with very, very strong PvP. It's going to be quite an explosive game. I don't know who I'd pick to win this one either.
It's going to be incredibly close indeed. Just getting a look more at these games versus Cure that Classic did play. A lot of late game, it seems here. A lot of Vikings versus, you know, the big Colossi and Gateway Unit armies here. Classic looking strong today, looking confident.
Who do you think is going to come out on top of this match, Valdez? Because I still can't think of one. It's such an even match, I feel.
This match specifically, I would have to go with Stats 3-2.
Wow.
Or 3-2? No, I guess it's not. No, that doesn't actually make any sense.
Three, but
ignore that, but I think he is going to win this best of 3. And here we do have a look at the bans for the maps. Nimbus and Merrygown go around being eliminated by Stats, and Catalina and Deadwing being eliminated by Classic. So Classic not really wanting to play on those big maps.
Yeah, Catalina and Deadwing getting removed from Classic. Yeah, definitely not big maps. Catalina can be pretty, I guess, tricky when Blink Stalkers come into play, because you do have that back door. Nimbus, obviously, not many Protosses like that map. Very big map. Merry-Go-Round also can be awkward simply because third bases are so hard to take. If one player is aggressive and one is trying to defend a third, it can be very awkward.
Yeah. So in the pool right now, we have Overgrowth, King Sazon Station, and Foxtrot Labs. That is 3 two-player maps, man.
It is indeed. So very possible proxy gateways.
Yeah.
Let's never forget that.
Could have a bunch of cheese. It is a best of 3, of course. The first map will be Overgrowth for match 1, set number 1 of Group B, the round of 16. Here we go into game number 1 between Stats and Classic. Up here in the top right in the red, the Protoss player of KT, it is Stats.
And here in the bottom left, we do have the player Classic.
That he is. And Moonglade, you asked me my opinion, but I so rudely forgot to ask yours. Who do you think is going to get out of this one first here between Stats and Classic?
My goodness, Valdez, that is a tricky one to answer. I mean, if I had to choose one simply off most recent results, I'd go with Classic. I would say Classic. I'm going to say Classic's going to win this 2-1. Gonna put it out there.
All right.
Let's see what happens.
I respect your opinion, Moonblade, very highly.
Thank you, Valdez. I appreciate your respect. Recent times, we are seeing some results from stats. Did defeat Cure. I'd have to say Innovation would be the harder opponent of the two.
Yeah. I mean, Cure, definitely a very good Terran as well, but Innovation, you know, doing incredibly well in Pro League so far. He's 4-0.
Yeah, he is.
Very hard to achieve those results, and even though he did drop out of this individual league, that guy is a robot, man. He is just so good. He's a machine now being built by SK Telecom.
Rebuilt.
It's only getting stronger.
That's true. And I mean, it really comes down to what we're going to see from stats this game as well. Like, what kind of stats is going to come into this tournament? Because if it's the stats we saw in the individual league when it came to WECG, where he dominated everyone, sure. I mean, he might have no trouble defeating Classic and coming out of here in first place.
Yeah, well,
it really just comes down to it.
Yeah, it's definitely very true, Moonblade. And just jumping into builds so far, over at Stats' base, he did get an 11 gateway, so a bit faster here. He gets that faster cybernetics core out. He gets a later second gas as well compared to Classic. Classic just going for the standard double gas very quickly, whereas Stats delaying a bit on that.
That's right. We'll have to wait and see what tech these players are going to be going for. We are seeing Stats' Probe Scout get into the main base of Classic. Nothing really to defend just yet. Zealot coming out soon. No Mothership Core or anything of the likes.
Yeah. Just making that Zealot first. He does cancel it, of course. Does go into the Stalker. Wants to get that probe out of the base as soon as possible and put down his tech.
Ooh, looks like it's going to be Twilight for Stats. Stats actually deciding not to do it just yet because Classic's probe is still there. Gets denied, and down it goes.
Very nicely done. Just waiting to make sure that Classic has no idea. Whereas Stats, on the other hand, also has no idea. Although he did see that the two gases were taken for longer, he did go ahead and click those gases. He would have been able to find that out. We do have the Stargate coming out of Classic.
All right, so potential Blink Stalker against the Stargate opening. I wonder if we're going to see DTs from this. Judging by the gas, what we see, I mean, maybe. Well, I mean, with the 2 extra gateways, I think it most likely will be Blink Stalker this early. But he does have a lot of gas. And DT goes down.
There we go, and that is very fast. That's in the main base too as well, right? It's not over at that pylon.
Yeah, it's at the bottom right of the main base. Okay. He's going to try for it. Okay. We are going to see oracles on the map, but it's going to be entirely up to where the oracles are as to how easily they kind of detect this DT rush.
So far, all that Classic has seen is one Stalker, and I believe he saw that pylon over there to the right with one of his probes. Maybe not. Actually, I think he did. Pretty sure he did. Well, here we go. 3 Stalkers being pumped out here by Stats. I think he wants to show a bit of Blink pressure, actually. Just saying, hey, I got a lot of Stalkers here. I'm going to go for aggression. Beware of my Blink.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, he's going for DT, so it's kind of like a feign. He's like,
yeah, exactly.
Applying pressure. He's like, hey, like, I've made a lot of Stalkers. I'm trying to pressure you here. I'm trying to go for a timing. But then a DT is going to run in. I mean, what do we have on the map? We have an Oracle. Oracle potentially can do a lot of damage. There's only 1 Stalker in the mineral patch right now. 2 more being warped in.
But that Oracle's getting a lot of damage done already. I think it's just going to suicide it. Well, it's getting pretty low. There it goes down. Does get 6 kills, though.
Yeah, 6 kills. What's it going to mean when a DT runs in there? There is no detection whatsoever.
I don't understand this, actually. Classic saw the Dark Shrine. He just did not respond to this at all. And now he has no detection. He's trying to Chrono Boost out an Oracle right now, but that Stalker's already getting so much, or rather the DT is already getting so much damage done, just trading against the Stalkers. And Stats could definitely just warp in 3 more Stalkers and go for it.
Yeah, he could. He could also go into Blink at this point. It wouldn't be a bad idea. A very strong follow-up. Forcing so many units out that Stats did not want to make. Oh, sorry, Classic did not want to make.
Yeah, man, look at this. This DT is already getting so much damage done. Look at the unit count. 7 Stalkers right now to a Zealot and a Mothership Core. Well, Stats right now, he's bringing the 3 from his main base to fight right now. That DT just getting so much damage done.
So much damage. 9 probes have gone down. So many Stalkers at the front. There is an Oracle that cannot do anything at all. It is completely useless. It's detecting. And that is it. It doesn't have any energy for a Pulse Beam. GG. Very nicely done from Stats.
Yeah, really cool build, actually. Kind of feigning the
it.
blink, and then just Classic was actually completely fooled, even though he saw the Dark Shrine, which is the funniest thing. He just did not react to it at all. Maybe just not really paying attention, more so paying attention to the Stalkers on his front doorstep. So Stats does take the first game here against Classic.
Nice little mind game, yeah. Really cool pressure sort of build. Pressure in the DT, and just a bad follow-up from Classic. I mean, going Oracle into, looks like it's going to be Blink. No chance of detection past an Oracle. So a very awkward situation, especially losing that Oracle in the main base of Stats is just kind of a bit sloppy there.
He could have definitely kept it alive and maybe, build up some more energy, try to come back and get that observation down on the DT.
Well, it's always a good idea to keep it alive as well because it can detect it a little bit later. And
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.